Okay, alright. I'm ready. Alright, so, I'm going to be on Google.com reading off, from Genius, the website, just for reference to the lyrics, and I'm going to be reading off, Will Wood lyrics from, one album only, even though I could probably find multiple instances in other albums, on why I think Mr. William Wood here is a lyrical genius, because I truly think that he is. I listen to a lot of his songs and I'm like, oh my god, that hits, and then I have to replay it because it's just that good. So we're going to be starting off with, if you're not a fan of Will Wood, then, you know, hopefully this will change your mind. If you're not a fan of him because you don't know who he is, but that's okay. So, I'm actually going to go sit down at my table because where I usually sit is, like, clogged up with other stuff. Hansa, I'm going to need you to shut up. Okay, so, we're starting off with the normal album because that is not the first album I listened to. The first album that I listened to was, Everything Is a Lot, because it has the song 6up50 Cop Out, which is, the first song that I ever heard by him, and then I listened to it, and I listened to all his other songs, whatever. So, the first song is, Suburbia Overture. It's got like 1,000 different names, whatever. Suburbia Overture / Vampire Culture. It's got like 7 other names, but whatever. So, it's about suburban, areas, like a suburb, like a city, like a town, and so he starts off. I'm gonna like pick at it as I go through. If I don't really have anything to say on it, then oh well. So he says, the first verse is white picket fences, barbed wire and trenches, trick or treat, Merry Christmas, howdy neighbor, thank you Jesus. What is he building in that painted lady? A participation trophy wife or blonde blue-eyed baby, which is, you know, what a lot of, it's a play on how, you know, very Joker, like here, like society, you know, it's very, women don't go out and do anything, and all the babies are blonde, blue-eyed, and perfect children, and the woman just sits at home and cleans. She doesn't have any qualities that would make her a quote-unquote human. Like, she doesn't have a job. She's not special. She doesn't win any awards. She's just there to be there, and that the husband goes out and does all the heavy lifting, which is very sexist, but I know he doesn't think like that. It's I want to say satirical, but I don't know if that would be the right word, and I don't know. These are my interpretations on it, or like literally defining what the words are, or like what the meaning of the sentences are, not like, oh well, it's actually a play on how society is. No, I'm not getting that deep into it. I don't know. Nobody ever knows what he means by this besides him, so we're not doing all that. And you know, when people say like living the American dream, it's a picket fence, like a wooden fence, painted white. You had a dog, your husband, wife, 2 kids, you know, golden Labrador retriever, fucking, you know, all of that, you know, generic American living in a nice house, well painted, well kept. You know what I'm talking about. So, the next verse is, or not verse, but the next like part of it is wide-eyed and wired, the snap crackle pop of the Geiger, or hard R there. No, Geiger is the word, and apparently, it's called like a Geiger counter, which is a device used to detect harmful ionizing radiation. And it's often used to protect against radiation because, you know, if there's too much radiation in an area, it's lethal. Camouflage billboards for lead-lined Brooks Brothers. You elbow the jukebox and sing duck and cover. And breed out iron sizers, feed on white wine and Pfizer. It don't look like survival. Buy now or die. And then he's like, you know, it starts the chorus, but we'll get to the chorus in a second. Let me see. We've civilized ourselves. This is I'm on Genius, the website, so I'm reading off some of these as well. There's more that I'm gonna have that are very like explaining because I already know what they mean. So he's talking about breed out our incisors like our teeth. And somebody commented, we've civilized ourselves and evolved past our animal nature, but I guess sometimes I feel like the things that we just regard as normal social functionality are just a polished up continuation of the violence of survival in nature. Which I think I read that fine, but I don't, I'm not understanding what it means as I'm reading it. And I guess, I mean, the first part's definitely true. We are not animals. We don't need to do all that, but I guess, I mean, a very basic level here, you still need all of your teeth. We're omnivores. As humans, we're omnivores. And in basic biology classes, I learned that the flat teeth in the back are for, like, plants and, like, chewing apart, like, leafy stuff. And then the sharp teeth up in the front, the canines and, like, the, you know, all the other teeth, they all are used to rip apart meat and, all of that. So usually animals with like all sharp teeth, like sharks and wolves and, you know, things of that nature, are carnivores because that's how they rip apart meat so easily. And maybe birds with beaks, you know, like vultures are, and I think it's mostly vultures, but they're very, like, they pick at dead bodies. I'm assuming that their beaks are sharp enough to just, like, you know, pluck off the meat off of the body. So, no, I'm not getting headphones. Get the fuck away from me, Verizon. So, you know, it goes from, you know, it's your normal, everyday, average, you know, house with the fence and the dog and the family and whatever, to, like, it don't look like survival, but, you know. They don't say anything about the fucking white wine. Yeah. Okay. I like this. If they were quote-unquote bred out, the teeth, if the teeth were bred out of us, which I don't know how you would do that, actually, if I'm, you know, really thinking about that. I don't know what you would do. If they were bred out, it would be much harder for us to cut and chew food, especially meat. So this conjures up images of pacified, quote-unquote, devolved humans. The phrases feed on and breed out add to this, as they are usually used in reference to animals. It makes it sound animalistic and primitive. And Pfizer is a big pharmaceutical company, so, yippee. So, the chorus it's repetitive, but it only has, like, a couple of lines if you're not repeating it, and he's like, suburbia, you're not alone, the lights are on, but no one's home, so welcome home. And when somebody said the lights are on, but nobody's home, it means that you're stupid, or that you're not very aware. Maybe stupid is a little bit far, but that you're not a very aware person. You're kind of, like, on autopilot, I'd say. The person says, I don't know if it's the same person commenting every time, but, like, suburbia may not be, like, a physical place. It could be, maybe, like, a place in your head, or some part of the world is, like, maybe comforting and safe, or it feels like home. If we're saying that suburbia is a home, or, like, an area of something, we'll go with the idea that it's a home, that it's, like, a safe place. You know, when somebody says, I feel at home, you know, I guess suburbia in this song is sort of a symbol for conformity or normality in general, so the lights are on but no one's home is just expressing the emptiness I feel behind the mainstream culture that I know, which, I mean, maybe that's what a lot of people, you know, they're all on autopilot. Also, by the way, just as a side note, this video, quote unquote, is just an excuse for me to ramble about Will Wood, because I like explaining his song lyrics, but nobody listens, and I don't bring it up enough to, like, I don't have a reason to bring it up. Sometimes I'll just be listening, and I'll be walking around, and I'll, like, tell my sister, I'll be like, yo, Mr. William Wood here, he is so right when, you know, when he says this, and then I'll, like, say the line, and I'll explain it to her, and she's like, wait, that's kind of fire, and I'm like, oh my god, you're so right. So, well, I was gonna say, though, like, in a suburbia, if we're going with the lights are on but no one's home, or, I think I heard another thing like that, something about that the other day, like, you're not at the wheel, or something like that, like, you're not fully there, like, nobody's up there, you're not kind of brain and no one's there. Everybody's kind of on autopilot, I feel like. Like, as people get older, I've seen the stereotype or standard, I guess it would be, of, how, oh, hi, Star, in the chat. Hi. The song is called Suburbia Overture by Will Wood. It's the first song in the normal album. I don't know if you're still here. I don't know when you commented that, but hi. It's like the standard of, like, once you get out of college, you have to find a good paying job as a man. We'll assume you're a man. You have to find a high paying job and get a wife, have some kids, have like get a house, have kids, get married. Assuming that you're religious, like Christian or Catholic or something of that nature. You're a white man in America, like that's the standard for a lot of people, is get married, even if it's a loveless marriage, have a job that you hate but it pays well, like you get stuck essentially in life, like people aren't allowed to be as free as they want to. Like, I've seen a lot of people now, they're not getting married until they're like 30 or 40. Like, they're not getting married fresh out of college. They're not finding a job. They hop from job to job, and it's kind of inspiring, I'd say. Like, nobody's getting stuck. Like, oh, I want to travel the world, and I wanna, you know, like, people are actually taking care of themselves. They're not getting stuck in a job that they hate. I'm looking for a job, like, not currently, but I want to find a job that I at least enjoy, even if it doesn't pay well, because I'd rather go there and be happy, because if I'm happy, I can do my job well. But if I'm upset, I'm not gonna want to come into work every day. Like, no wonder you don't have a lot of workers anymore. People don't, not in an old man kind of way, but people don't want to work anymore. But you wonder why, you know? Also, Star said that she's here, and that's a good song. Thank you, Star. It is a good song. It's very... Oh, and for women, it would be like, learn how to cook, learn how to clean. Women, I was talking to a girl in my class the other day, and she was in my writing class, and she was like, she's like, we got done with our work, and we got partnered up, and she's like, so what's your major? And I was like, oh, psychology. What's yours? She's like, I'm undecided, but I'm thinking about going into business. And I'm like, cool. I know a lot of people go into business. She's like, yeah, the building that we have here is really good. So even, like, not in a sexist way, but even girls go into business, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a popular... There's a lot of girls in my psychology class. There's a lot of girls in my writing class. There's guys in theater. There's guys in psychology, like, dance classes. Like, nobody's stuck in these, like, roles anymore. And I love to see that. I really do. So, verse 2, let me stop rambling for a second here, is Myers-Briggs, which is a personality quiz, and OK Ultra, which is another one of his songs, but, this is a play on MK Ultra, a government-sanctioned testing by the CIA of psychedelic and psychotropic drugs on people to try to extract confessions and induce some level of mind control. It ran from 1953 to 73, which aligns with this album has very, you know, like, you know, I'm gonna say scat and hope that you know what I mean. I mean the musical kind, not like the fetish. Like, it's very, like, doo-wop and, you know, like, poppy. It's like 50s, 70s, 90s music. But this album was made in 2020, so. Myers-Briggs, OK Ultra. It takes a village to fake a whole culture. Your ear to the playground, your eye on the ball, your head in the gutter, your brains on the wall. Oh well, home is where the heart is. You ain't homeless, but you're heartless. By the way, banger, you ain't homeless, but you're heartless. It's the safest on the market, but you still gotta watch where you park it. Let me just call out this verse for a second. Home is where the heart is. You ain't homeless, but you're heartless. Like, God. Okay. And somebody's talking about the fucking progressions, which can be heard in some of his other songs. And they don't explain it, but like. Let me pick this apart as best as I can, because I love this part. Also, your head in the gutter, your brains on the wall. Cool, okay. a genius to be H-star? That is exactly what I'm saying. This video is proof. It's real life evidence. I am his lawyer. I'm in court right now. If home is where the heart is, you're not homeless, but you're heartless. Like, I'm wrapping my head around it. Like, it's like, I love it, but I can't properly define it. What do we say about this? Okay, I'm not even gonna fucking listen to you. I'm just reading these out so that you can see, so that you can, like, feel the lyrics touching you. This is part of where it kicks up. Let me get, I don't want to just, like, be, like, monotonously reading them out, but, So give me your Half-Life Crisis. I can tell that you know where paradise is. Where parasites don't care what your blood type is, only pheromones and serotonin decide. If it's true that a snowflake only matters in a blizzard, he's like, everyone knows that, nobody knows that, everybody's all up in my business. And then he starts, so baby, okay, and he starts fucking, he can go very low, but also in this song, he's, like, screaming, like a falsetto kind of voice. I think that's it. Music people, please don't scream at me. But he's, like, very high-pitched, like, high tenor. I don't know. So, I can tell that you know where... Here, let me go back out here. I can tell that you know where paradise is, where parasites don't care what your blood type is. Which is very... And this person's like, this is a bit of a stretch. In some cultures, it's a common belief that people can be grouped into personality types based on their blood type, even though there's little scientific backup, making it a common topic for small talk. Parasites could be a pejorative to address people like fake friends or the people around you who are pretending or fake or whatever, like your neighbors, maybe some friends that you have, something like that. This line could mean that paradise is a place where you aren't bothered by fake people attempting to build a relationship with you through small talk, which I'm kind of with them. That is a little bit of a stretch, but people who don't care. I like the analogy for parasites, like people who, like, suck your energy away. Have you ever been friends with those kind of people where they're just kind of, like, sucking your life force? You're like, oh my god, like, get me out of here. I can't do this anymore. And back to the very, like, animalistic nature of people, only pheromones and serotonin decide. So whatever makes you happy, whatever feels good is what you're going to do in life. Yeah, pheromones and serotonin are both commonly associated with love and intimacy. This line is referring to how falling in love and starting a family really just boils down to chemicals. And that's kind of so true. That, like, kind of so true, really. Messed it up there. It's very, like... Some people don't care who they fall in love with, but some people are like it comes so naturally naturally to them that, like, like, it just feels right to be with that person, you know what I mean? Like, it's... Or, like, you see somebody and your heart just, like, flutters and you're like, oh my god, like, I love this person. Like, your stomach gets all, like, butterflies and your heart's all, like, tingly and, like, your face starts getting red. You're like, oh my god, like, what's making me act like this? Okay, that's called love, shawty. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's very, love is a chemical, but love is also feeling, and we all know that feelings are complicated, so it's very, like, it's dependent on the person, I think, that love is a feeling, and sometimes you don't get that feeling with somebody. Like I have a couple friends at school, or a couple friends just, like, generally in my life. Like, I have people that I hang out with. Like, they're kind of cool. I'm friendly with them. Would I want to start a family with them? No. If I have a partner currently, or if I've had any past partners, did I want to start a family with the past people? No. I might have wanted to. I might have said that I wanted to, but, like, last time I said that to somebody, it started freaking me out to do that. Trauma, by the way. We'll not get into that too deep, but, like, Sometimes you're like, oh my god, yes, I want this so badly, and then when it happens, you're like, wait, hold on, rewind, go back, I don't want to do this. She's like, everybody's up in my business, suburbia, it's where you belong. Suburbia is where you belong, the lights are on, but no one's home, so welcome home. It's a bridge to the next part of the song. And please don't say anything about one of these lines. I know people are going to say, haha, come. Chameleon peacocks are talk of the town. Well, word gets around on hit number stations. He comes radiation. Stop. The dog bites the postman. Will basement eyes dream of a night at the drive-in with an AR-15. Fake. Fake. No guns. No violence here. I don't even know where to go with he comes radiation. Like, I did. The annotation says, a person coming radiation would be a strange occurrence indeed, so it's no wonder it's being talked about on the radio. Coming radiation would be a reference to a nuclear family, playing on two meanings of the word nuclear. Well, the word means relating to the nucleus in nuclear family. This is too many nuclears for me. It could also mean relating to nuclear reactions or weapons, which would explain why this family man is, fucked up. On the other hand, it could be a signal or a sign that this man's ability to fit in with normal society is fading as he is perceived as a deviant. Plus, if his sperm contains radiation, this implies that any family he creates would not be picture-perfect suburban family, but rather a literal toxic household because of the radiation. And maybe, like, in the case that he is a fuckboy and he's just going on coming radiation on everybody, then, like, he's literally spreading toxicity to people, We'll take it as that. We'll pretend that he's not, like, freaking out. And they say basement eyes dream. Like, chameleon peacocks, also, by the way, the first line. This annotation says, the dog bites the postman seems to be part of this quote-unquote perfect family idea being tainted and deconstructed. People gossiped about them being chameleon peacocks, which means that they're blending in, and maybe they look good while doing it, or that they are attempting to look good and blend in with people, even though they're not as normal as everybody in the suburban family thinks that they are. In the line, he comes radiation, they start saying the family is toxic, or this type of family that he has. Okay, well, they're talking about something else here, whatever. Basement eyes dream, and I don't know what the fuck basement eyes means, but it says basement eyes dream of a night at the drive-in with an AR-15, so if he really is such a toxic person, well, we'll not assume toxic as in, like, locks up his family in the basement, but, like, they're trapped in the house and they want to get out. Let's hope that they don't, SHOOT somebody, So this next part gets a little bit, a little bit weird, but it is my favorite part of the song. It's called Vampire Culture, so it switches from, light little piano music to, like, I wouldn't say, like, metal, but it gets heavier than it did before, like, the song sounded light. He says, I'll explain this. If I can read it out, I'm scared. I dropped my eyeballs in the bonfire. We fucked on a bed of nails. I caught Kuru from your sister and died laughing in jail. Smell those screaming teenage sweetbreads on the 4th of July grow. Smile and wave boys kiss the cook. Live, laugh, and love. Please pass the pills. It's only culture. So it gets really insane. It gets crazy here. This is not a normal family anymore. And Kuru is a disease, which scared me a couple years ago when I first heard the song. When I looked it up, because what the fuck is that? When you got, like, infected with it. It's a disease that usually comes from cannibalism. If you eat the infected person's brain, which is crazy that is even a thing that should be said. It is, your brain has, like, proteins in it called prions, and if they happen to get folded over in some horrific event, which you can't control, there's nothing you can do, you just start going crazy. If anything in your brain folds over on itself, you get fucked up. Like, you get, like, severely messed up. So let's see what they have to say about this. Kuru is a prion, which is a misfolded protein. Not they fold, but if they do it the wrong way, then they get fucked up. It's a disease only found in the FORE people of New Guinea. It's caused by funerary cannibalism, eating the flesh of the newly deceased, particularly in their brain. Its most famous symptom is uncontrollable laughter, and once caught, it's always fatal. It's phrased to sound like an STD, but catching Kuru would mean that the singer ate the sister's brain. And they say your sister, so rest in peace if you have a sister. It's very, strange. I don't know what to say about that. And like died laughing in jail. I mean, if you eat somebody, if you perform cannibalism, I'm assuming you're gonna get caught and thrown in jail. And then it goes to like screaming teenage sweetbreads on the 4th of July grill as if you're like cooking somebody alive. So another bout of cannibalism there. Smile and wave boys kiss the cook. I don't think I will, actually. Live, laugh, and love, please pass the pills. Common, and then it's just like, give me the pills, I want to feel normal. Which is why it's called the Normal album, which is funny because it's not normal. That's the funny part about it, is that it's not a normal thing to happen. It is like, it's only culture, it's only culture, it's only culture, sulfur, smoke, and soot. S-O-O-T, soot. You learn to torture house cats like vultures. You cocked and, whoa, chill out. You cocked and sucked your lack of empathy, pulled the trigger with your foot to prove you've got blood. And he starts, you know. That's the next part of the verse, but, we can get into that in a second. You learn to torture house cats like vultures. And you know, if you've ever been in, not into in a weird way, but if you've ever, like, heard about serial killers, usually they start with torturing animals, small animals, cats. They go around killing cats and dogs and stuff, and that's usually, like, a pretty early warning sign that they, like, they're gonna move on to humans, usually, if they ever get to that point where they are hurting rats, cats, birds, dogs, stray animals, small children, you know? If it ever gets to that point, then ruh-roh. So, you cocked and sucked your lack of empathy, pulled the trigger with your foot to prove you've got, blood. When suicide is attempted with a shotgun or rifle, I don't know why I said it like that. The gun barrel is long enough that once the unfortunate person has it cocked and in their mouth, the trigger cannot be reached with their hands. So they have to usually do it with their foot. And they say, don't try this one at home, kids. Star says sweetbread is disgusting. It almost made me sick when I first found out what it was. What? Should I be concerned, Miss Crusader? Let's see. Unless it's... Let's see. Oh. Sweetbread is the culinary term for the thymus gland in the throat and the pancreas, which is near the stomach, in calves, lamb, and pigs. Sweetbreads are considered the internal organs of an animal, neck and throat or heart sweet. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Fun. No, it put me back to the top. I'm gonna cry. Everybody's all up in my business, blah, blah, blah. You know, you loaded it up and then you, pulled the trigger with your foot to prove you've got blood. Didn't they want your blood? So I apologize for being blue and cold. Blood, didn't they want your blood? So don't apologize for being blue and cold. It is gross. Yeah, I regret looking that up. He's like, it's only culture, fuck your culture. It's more afraid of you than you're afraid of it. Go on, drink that blood. It turns to very cannibalism. And then there's more to the song, which I can't Don't know if I can say more to this specific part. But towards the end he says, were you mother, daughter, subject, and author? You don't make the rules, you just write them down and do it by the book you throw around, which is, I think it's a jab at, like, religious people who are like, oh, I read the Bible, and they make themselves seem all high and mighty because they read the Bible, and, like, my mom makes some comments on those kinds of people. Like, nothing against religious people, but just the fact that some people are like, oh, I read the Bible, I go to church, and then they don't actually follow the Bible. Like, okay, and I'm not saying you have to follow it to a T constantly, or you're not a real Christian. I'm not religious anyway, so it does not matter to me. The Bible is not my cup of tea. I will leave it aside. If you want to read it, read it. If you want to follow it exactly, follow it exactly. If you don't and you want to follow it in your own, if you want to, like, I don't know, just do what you want as long as they're not hurting anybody. And then, just, they always are throwing around Bible verses to try and prove you wrong and prove that they're like a better Christian or Catholic than you are. Like, okay, well, you know, fun. Thank you for that. You don't make the rules, you just write them down. You don't, usually. People made the Bible, but we didn't. A lot of people who are reading the Bible and saying to, oh, do this, you're not, that's not very, you know, Catholic of you, or Christian of you, or whatever, then, there you go. And then the next part transitions to a different part of the song. All of the titles of the song, it's Suburbia Overture / Greetings from Mary Bell Township / Vampire Culture / Love Me, comma, normally. A song later in the album is called Love, comma, Me Normally. Like he's calling somebody love. He's like, this is me. This is who I'm meant to be. Amazing reference. And then, your mother died. Do you know the difference between blazing trails and slash and burn, going against the grain and catching splinters? You pull out your Rorschach, like the Rorschach test, like a paint-by-numbers treasure map, the ink upon your jigsaw piece trace you back to your fingerprints. Well, Lot, he had his lot in life, Jove his job, and I guess you'll too and die. The Lord looked down, said, hey, you're only mortal. Giveth and taketh away till things come out a certain way, leave you wondering when they might go back to normal, leave you wondering why they can't have just been normal. It goes from very like normal neighborhood to, oh, this guy's toxic, to like, okay, well now he's like cannibalizing people, and all that, and then like going against the grain because he's already not normal. Your Rorschach, like the test, and the ink upon your jigsaw piece trace you back to your fingerprints. Like, I don't know. Maybe the ink isn't ink. Maybe it's fucking blood or something. I don't know. And they will trace it back to you. They'll be like, you know, whatever. Lot, and they're these, like, people from the Bible. Well, Lot, he had his lot in life, Job his job, and I guess you'll too and die. And then I'm pretty sure if this annotation will load maybe sometime this year, that'd be really cute. Hello Genji in the chat. Good evening. It is evening, actually, now that I think about it. No, okay. Leave you wondering when things will go back to normal, because things were normal, and maybe now that that guy is here, maybe now that it's not normal. Next in the list. Oh! Track list. Hello. Oh my god, there we go. Okay. Let's fucking get it.
I am here.
Hi, welcome. No, we're clicking on fucking Second Sightseer and you're gonna like it, genius.
Yippee.
Okay, well, while I'm waiting for my fucking Genji, you're gonna be my chat moderator because this is fucking on my phone.
I have been watching.
Okay, well, you do that.
Who is? Okay, I have to. Who's JC?
Star.
It is Star. Okay.
So let me read off the Wikipedia really quickly. The Normal album is the third studio album by American musician Will Wood, released on July 10th, 2020 by Say 10 Records. It was produced by It was produced by Jonathan Maisto, who also produced his first album, Everything Is a Lot. The album was financed in part by a crowdfunding campaign, which met its goal on the first day. Their studios in New Jersey, and also one in Maryland, I guess. It's avant pop, indie rock, doo-wop, quote unquote, is the genre, and jazz. The entire length of the album is 45 minutes and 45 seconds. Say 10 Records is label, producer, whatever. He wouldn't go on to make another album until he made a soundtrack for a podcast 2 years later called Camp Here and There. A lot of his most played songs, I think. The album is most well known for its track I Me Myself, which gained notoriety after trending on TikTok around late 2021, which led to the track being Will's most streamed song by far, which makes me want to cry. So it's really funny that I was saying earlier how, oh, yes, let's fucking go, okay. So it leads to, when I was on TikTok when I was still very much into JoJo, and I saw a song, or it was a Pillarman thing, and it was like randomly generating songs. There was like a certain website where you could go to, and it would randomly generate a song, and for Cars, the Pillarman with the big purple hair, he got 6 Up 5-0 because it was basically like screaming and like, get me out of here is kind of the gist of the song. If you want me to review that, I will. If you want me to do another album, I will, gladly. And I was like, what the fuck, like, this song is so catchy, like, I kept coming back to the video just to hear that song. And then I looked it up, and I was like, who the fuck is Will Wood? And then I started, and it's been maybe, it's been such a long time. So, the second song, it's so funny that it's the second song in the album. It's Second Sightseer, but the S's are 2s, and then in parentheses it says, that was fun, comma, goodbye, period. This song is very fast. It's very, fast-paced and kind of loud and kind of, like, fucked up, but I love it. Not, like, fucked up in a bad way, but, like, it's everywhere all at once, all at the same time. Genji, if you sing a single word, William will fucking come and sue us. Do not. Do not. It's very hard to understand what he's saying when he's speaking this fast, so thank God I have the lyrics so that I can break it down, but this one also has very good... I chose this album because a lot of the songs have very good, like, lines, and I would love to explain them, because as a psych major, which I do not like to... I don't like flaunting to people, but I like to say it so that they know where I'm coming from when I say this. I have loved psychology since I was 12. I've loved it for 6 years, and now I'm in college for it, and I can't see anything being different about it. I used to want to go to school for art, but then I was like, no, it's just a hobby. Psychology is where I want to be. It's what I want to do with my life, and I love it. So, hearing the aspects of what I'm learning in class in this music is like, like it's made for me. Oh, like, it's so good. So, he says in the first verse, okay, yeah, I'll read the first entire verse, and then we'll go with that. My grip on my secrets slipping while I'm speaking in tongues, screaming at the top of my lungs in the confession booth. Take it with a pillar of salt, halt, as if it were an acronym. It's not my fault, the devil made me do it, but I also kind of wanted to. I'm cut from a different kind of meat. More than you can chew, hard to swallow me. Forget bored stiff, I got rigor mortis, call it morbid curiosity. Holy fuck. I think they fucked up the words. Forget bored stiff, I hear rigor mortis. How can I commit, I'm fucking up. I want to read the words, but I don't think that's what he says. How can I commit to reality when my third eye's open and I like what I see? Baby, I may be crazy, but I didn't lose it. No, I set it free. Like, first of all, okay, we're off to a great start here. Bored stiff, going from being bored stiff, which I already don't entirely know what that means, to rigor mortis, which is like when you die and your body stiffens up, like. And then he's like, call it morbid curiosity, and I'm just like, oh my god, I love you. A lot of the lines are just banger. It's like, oh my god, like, imagine saying you're cut from a different kind of me. Instead of I'm built different, it's like a normal, like, quote that somebody would say. I'm cut from a different kind of meat, more than you can chew, hard to swallow me. Like, okay, I'm like, okay. You know, I get what he's saying here. And how can I commit to reality when my third eye is open and I like what I see? That's very, like, I don't want to be in reality because I'm, like, the imaginary world in my head is so much better and I don't want to be here. Or you're on maybe a psychoactive drug and you're just like, oh my god, I want to be here forever, and then you get addicted to drugs. So much fun. And I may be crazy, but I didn't, like, lose my mind. I set it free. Like, okay, like, fuck it up, dude. Oh my god. Here's my lovely little Edgar Allan Poe reference. The pre-chorus here. Fuck off, ads, I will kill you. I can't ignore what's under dance floor boards. The rhythm of my heart, a dead as disco beat, but I still move my feet to slip out of this groove. I'm free. Now to row, row, row my boat over the falls and maybe wake up from but a dream. Yeah. Monotone. He says, I can't ignore what's under dance floorboards, the rhythm of my heart. So, oh my god, The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, which, amazing story, by the way. I read that like 4 years ago, I'm not over it. The guy was hearing his own heart because he killed somebody and put his heart in the floor, or his body in the floorboards, and he thought that everybody else would hear his heart, and he got so caught up. He was so nervous that he heard his own heart and thought that it was the dead guy's, but he's dead, you can't hear his heartbeat. And so when people come over to visit him after a while, or like check it out or whatever, he gets so nervous that he thinks they already caught them, so he just like comes out and tells them. But that wasn't the case. They're like, we didn't even know, and then you check and they're like, oh my god, he was telling the truth. That's like paraphrased heavily, but still. There you go.
I did not know that was a reference, to be honest.
Well, there you go. Fucking illiterate. Got him. The rhythm of my...
Yeah, that's cool.
You have not read Edgar Allan Poe. Go read every single poem or story by Edgar Allan Poe, and he will change your life. The rhythm of my heart, a dead as disco beat. You know, disco's not dead. Yeah, possibly a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. Which tells the story of a murderer who stores his victim under his floorboards but goes mad and imagines the beating of the corpse's heart giving him away. Will may be using this metaphor in relation to dance, suggesting he is somehow moved or inspired by his own madness and guilt. However, he refers to his own heart, so it's hard to be sure. Dead as disco beat refers to how the genre of disco disappeared and lost popularity sharply and quickly after an incident called disco demolition. I've never heard that before, but I love that. So it's like, I'm as dead as disco, which I think that's hilarious to say, actually. I'm dead as disco. But I still move my feet to slip out of this groove. I'm free. And maybe he is on, like, psychoactive drugs, and he's like, finally, I'm a real person. Oh my god, like, I can't believe this, guys. Row my boat over the falls and maybe wake up from but a dream. Maybe, you know, when you fall in a dream, question mark. I've never gone down a waterfall before, so I can't say. I have had dreams where I'm just, like, flying, and I'm just, like, about to hit the ground, and then I wake up. Why? I know why that happens, but, like,
I was gonna say,
stop doing that. I hate, like, I'm trying to go to sleep, and then you wake me up on purpose, and now I can't go back to sleep. Fuck you. The chorus here. I'm just a psycho babe, come and go out my mind. I didn't lose it, babe. There wasn't much to find. I'm just a psycho coming on there. I'm only passing through. You know, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Oh, got him. Play on Out of My Mind, saying that the singer's coming in and out at random intervals, like psychosis. You know, when you're not planted in reality, and so you're just like, oh, I'm lucid. Oh, now I'm not. I'm fucked up again. He's like, I'm a psycho. I'm crazy. Fuck it. Whatever. See, because Apo tagged me and I want to go check it out, but I don't also at the same time because it's about Hamon. Verse 2, and this is the fastest part of the song, not the fastest he's ever sang, which I think goes to Black Box Warrior, or talked or sung before, but, if you aren't accustomed to these songs, it sounds fast, but once you are, it's like, it's normal, and I've read the lyrics enough times that I can pick up on the words. I just cannot say them as fast as he can. I already talk too fast that my brain can't keep up. So, verse 2, here, if you knew what I knew, if you saw what I see, you'd look through illusions, hallucinations, and lucid dreams, which, you know, clearly, we already stated this before, he's not in reality. He is, beyond help, probably, at this point, if he's just... If you knew what I knew, if you saw what I see, if you're hallucinating, I I hope that nobody sees what you see, because I don't think I've hallucinated before. Maybe I have. I've had really weird dreams. I've never had a lucid dream, but I've had, like, I've had dreams where I very vividly remember them, and all of them were weird. All of them were scary and weird, and they meant something. I know that meaning can be such a pretty thing to keep fast, but I got facts, and I'm not afraid to use them. Take the good with the bad, take off the back, you make a new front. Some days I'm glad that I am a madman, and I'd rather be that than an amicable animal, mild-mannered cannibal, but I'm more level-headed and clever than ever, and I'm getting better, one forever at a time. And if sick is defined by what's different, well then pull the plug out and let me die. Clap, applaud, give him his fucking everything award, I don't care. If sick is defined by what's different, well then pull the plug out and let me die, assuming that he's so different. I don't know where that was going, but he's different. That's literally all that means, is that I'm crazy, I'm not as normal maybe as other people, whatever. Very quirky white girl moment, but no. At this point, I think I'm just reading out the words rather than actually explaining them, but some of them I can't explain. I do like, amicable animal, mild-mannered cannibal. That's just very fun to say. He's saying that he prefers his own brand of madness to the brutality of mainstream society, which I hate that this whole album is just society.
Society.
So here's this. I learned this in my religion class a couple years ago. He says, vice versa, vice versus virtue. Please, I want to... Okay. A virtue is like a blessing, like something good, and a vice is like things like anger and jealousy and shit like that will hold you back. It's like has a grip on you. Vice versus virtue. Well, who I am, I choose through all the things I do, and if it rhymes, it's true, but I hate poetry. Now with my moral compass pointing south, I'm going down with no respect for reality. But he's like, no, respect for reality. Okay, fucking pop off, king. I like with my moral compass pointing south, I'm going down, like he just stopped caring. And you know when people say they have like a good moral compass, we're assuming that north is up, so if it's up, it's positive, it's good, and if it's south, it's like, fuck it, I'm a bad person. He says that he's crazy, and assuming that he's bad, he doesn't have a good moral compass, he can't tell. I mean, if you're fucked up enough that you're like hallucinating and you're seeing shit that's not there, and you're like crazy, quote unquote crazy or a psycho, then your moral compass is probably gonna be pretty fucked up, just because you don't know like what's real and what's not. So I feel like that would just fuck you up. Where I mean, I wouldn't even be bothered about having a good moral compass at that point. I'd be worried about fucking. I would have more to worry about than being a good person. And then I'm just a psycho babe, blah, 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 blah. And the outro is the same as the chorus, but he's like, come and go out my mind, a tourist passing through, well, that was fun, goodbye. Like, okay, it's over now, you know, whatever. The general gist of the song, apparently at the very bottom, the song is about someone who willingly chooses to be off the norm, or out. They say off the norm, but I've never fucking heard that sentence in my life. To be not normal or insane to society. Or, like, as they see you, society is saying that you're weird or insane. Citing it as a better way to live, and while it might be quote-unquote wrong, it feels more right to him than living quote-unquote normally. This ties into later songs where, almost as a response to this one, they claim that they want to go back to being normal. Because in this... Okay, wait, that's so true. Because in this song he's saying, like, I'm crazy, let me, like, I'm not normal, I'm not a normal person, and then he just wants somebody to love him normally, which is the last song in the album, which is, I think, I don't want to say it's my favorite, I think this whole album has all of my favorite songs in it, like, all of them are really good and I love them, but, Love Me Normally, the first song is love, comma, me normally, like, this is me, and then the last one is love me normally, like, pretend that I'm a normal person. Next song, if I can fucking find it. Oh, I could have just scrolled back down to the bottom, whatever, I'll just go fuck myself. This one is called Laplace's Angel, and I also like the title of this one, in parentheses, hurt people, question mark, hurt people, exclamation point. That's funny. Okay, I'm scared because my Alexa is on in the next room and I don't want to say 911 because I don't want to call 911. Verse 1 of this one. Have you ever died in a nightmare, woke up surprised you hadn't earned your fate? Which, yes, I've had strange enough dreams that I'm like, what? That wasn't real? Have you ever felt like Atlas threw your back out on the axis and collapsed and threw the planet away? Everyone's just blood in an ice tray, a vampire picking flowers out in the sun. Run your diagnostic test, it's posited. Nobody dies agnostic, but we still dial 911, and now we're singing whatever song. There's also little, like, voices in the back of this song that say stuff, and I can't ever focus on a lot of them enough, but it does define them here, and in the lyric video for this song, which is very good, there's a bunch of, like, dancing, singing skulls. I love the music video. But Atlas, like, in... Let me see if I'm right, Greek mythology? Yes. A reference to Atlas, a character in Greek mythology who was punished by the gods by being made to hold up the earth on his back for all eternity. This is why the historical bodybuilder Angelo Siciliano made a name for himself, calling himself Charles Atlas, and where the word Atlas on a map comes from, or an atlas as a map. Will Wood is maybe asking the singer if their strength, or the listener, probably not the singer, okay, that last fucking part of this analysis is wild. Maybe asking if someone's strength and ability to tolerate the world has failed them and caused them to hurt those around them by giving up on their responsibilities to others and shrugging everything off, as in have they caused harm coming from a place of their own pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people say that they have a lot on their shoulders. But also, by the way, fuck what I just said, this last part, proposed suggestion, also, Atlas and Axis are the first two cervical vertebrae in the human body, sitting directly below the cranium. They could be said to hold up somebody's world, their head. Because your head is on your shoulders, and if those, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're right below your head, and if they, like, what did he say? Threw your back out on the axis, like, if your axis got fucked up, then your head would, like, fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, your world, quote unquote. I guess that is how you see the world. The world is... I'm gonna get really weird here. The world is all in your head. It's perception. Your perception of the world. Mine is different than Genji's, and his is different than Star's, and Omega's, and Spaz, and whoever else, and Emu, and my dad, and his family, and, you know, fucking Star's family, and whatever. And a cat. Like, you know, all of that stuff. So your world is in your head. Like, my world... maybe, like, your worldview, it's different for everybody. And he's like, and now we're singing, I don't know. Could you take a look at me? I'm gonna read the normal, like, words first, before the parentheses. Could you take a look at me? Am I bad? Am I bad? Am I bad? Am I really that bad? Blah, blah, blah. Now we're singing, I'm not saying the ooze because I can't. I don't want to do that. Whatever you think of me, if you were in my shoes, you'd walk the same damn miles I do. And then in the, after every time he says something in the little parentheses, it's the norm for animals, it's the norm for chemicals, it's the norm for particles, eye for eye for tooth. It's the norm for chemicals, it's the norm of particles, yes, it's only natural. And it's, you know. Everything is... I don't know. Everything is. A lot. Got him. Fucking got him. If you were in my shoes, you'd walk the same damn miles I do. Like, the phrase, walk a mile in my shoes, or something like that. Or if you were in my shoes. He never claims to not be bad. He just asked if he is... He just asked you if he is and says that you would be too if you... spent a day as him, which I say that to people sometimes. I'm like, oh, you think that, like, I want to see, maybe not, like, ask, but I just want to see sometimes, how would people handle, like, if I said I had a rough day, I want somebody to go through what I think of as a rough day and see how they would come out of that day. Like, if I came out in a bad mood, what if somebody didn't? Like, what if somebody's like, oh, this day was great? Like, okay, well, what do you go through then if that day was great? Then, like, I like other people's perception of stuff. I always want to hear what people have to say. I think it's very interesting. And that it's, I mean, all of this other stuff that they're talking about, like animals and, like, clearly chemicals and particles and whatever, they just, like, go about their day. That's nature. So, good or bad is not a thing in nature. A wolf doesn't feel bad for killing a rabbit, and a bird doesn't feel bad for swooping up a little mouse, and, animals don't have the ability to feel bad for killing somebody when we do. So he's like, am I bad? Take a look at me, and whatever you think of me, like, am I a bad person? But also, a bad person is also subjective, so. We're only tuning to the tone of the bell curve now. Ask not for whom it tolls. But with my head up in the clouds, I can see so much ground, and from here you look like ants in a row. It doesn't take a killer to murder, it only takes a reason to kill. We've all got evidence of innocence. It's quote-unquote everything's coincidence. The difference twixt fate and free will is whether you're singing. Could you take a look at me? With your head up in the clouds, like, maybe you have that much of an ego that you think you're higher up than everybody else, and usually when people say, like, get off your high horse, because you have an ego, you think you're better than everybody else, that you're, like, higher up than them, and you see them as low, like, you are looking down on people, so they would look tiny to you. And if they look like ants in a row from your perspective, your ego's not fucking huge, it's, like, gargantuan, like, you need to get checked. I also like tuning to the tone of the bell curve, if I could fucking click on it. A bell curve is a type of graph used to depict the distribution of a set of chosen values across a specified group. It has a central normal value as a peak with low and high extremes tapering off relatively symmetrical on either side. You've probably seen it before. Ask not for whom it tolls. Hope. Okay. Oh my fucking gosh, they just quoted something like 10 years. Like fucking long ass thing. The most popular interpretation of this passage is that humanity is one, and whatever affects one affects us all. This could tie into the song's theme of good and bad people being one and the same, which is what I said. It's people are people, If we were based off of nature and we didn't feel bad for doing whatever we do, then morals and shit like that just would not matter. Like, somebody, if you think that, Genji's a bad person, for example, or Genji's a good person, I might think that he's different. Like, if you think that he's good, maybe I think that he's bad. Maybe vice versa. Maybe we both think he's a good person, Like, it could just be whatever. And then also, in this song, just, like, randomly, like, when music is playing, he's like, somebody help me, woo, and fucking, shrieks a little bit. It is a literal cry for help. Oh my god, that's killer. And then this part is, like, steadily said, like, he doesn't probably fuck it up, as I'm going to. So if you wash your hands of where you've been until you flood the second floor, neatly fold your skeletons but still can't shut the closet door, the only ones in need of love are those who don't receive enough, so evil ones should get a little more. Please, that's, okay. Washing your hands, like, when people say, I've got blood on my hands, or the blood is on my hands, or your hands, or whatever, it's like you're guilty of something, and if you're trying to wash your hands, like, metaphorically, like, get the blood off of your hands, and, not feel as guilty to, like, wash, like, cleanse yourself of sin, or whatever, until you flood the second floor, which is, like, you can try as much as you want, but your hands will never be clean. If you're a bad person, then you'll never be. So some people think if you're a bad person that you'll never be good in terms. Skeletons. If somebody has skeletons in their closet, they're like hiding something. They have secrets. They have bad things that they've done. Neatly fold your skeletons, but still can't shut the closet door. Is like you've done so much bad stuff that you just can't hide it. Even if you try. If you neatly fold them, if you try so hard to, like, organize it and put it away, and the closet door still won't shut, then you're, like, you've clearly done enough wrongs that somebody will find them if they're all just spilled out like that. And the only ones in need of love are those who don't receive enough, so evil ones should get a little more, is very, like, evil people aren't, quote-unquote, deserving of love or whatever, but, You could go down the path of, like, fixing somebody or helping them or helping to change them, or they have to change themselves, but that doesn't always mean that it'll work. Like, I've had people in my life who I could try to help, I could try to fix, they could go to therapy, they could do something to help themselves, but they don't. It's like, okay, then, you know, I mean, you can still love somebody who's evil. That's a very, everybody is deserving of love, but he's like the only one's in need of love. Everybody's in need of love, but if you're less loved because you're a bad person, then he's like, oh, well, you're more deserving. Not that you're more deserving, but you should get more because you don't have as much as other people do. And so he's like, it's the chorus again, and I'm just gonna read the things in parentheses again, because, like, fuck, they're so good. You could break an angel's fall and ignore the devil's call. Still, forsaken shoulders fall silent now. It's no more than cultural, you and me inseparable. It's a small hell after all. It's funny, it's like it's not a small world, it's hell. Earth is hell, it's living is hell. It's no more than cultural, you and me inseparable. If our culture didn't try to differentiate people based on if they're good or bad, then, you know, you're inseparable, you're the same person. Like, why, if we didn't have ideas of good and bad, then it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be like, oh, I don't like that guy, he's whatever, or that guy's a bad person. It's like, okay, well, if we didn't care, then maybe the world wouldn't be so hellish if people loved each other, if they didn't see. I mean, I'm not saying like a murderer is a good person, but like, there are some things that are worse than others, but then you can't say that somebody's a bad person because they did one little thing. It's like, okay, well, there's clearly like, there's like, what do you call it? It's circumstantial. Like, everything's not, some things aren't good in somebody's eyes and some things are. It's like, oh, well, that was the right thing to do, and no, it wasn't. That's a whole debate. I'm not getting into that, but still, if people didn't see good and bad, the world would be a lot different. Man, no more than animal, is made of moral. Oh, I fucked up. He's like, could you take a look at me? And the parentheses is a word, like it's sentences. I can read the sentence, but I can't process them. Man, no more than animal, is made of moral chemicals, which it's kind of the same thing as in the first song, pheromones and serotonin. Chemicals, just, you know, when you get very angry, when you get, like, you know, when you're in love, when you, like, lust, stuff like that. Those are very, like, passionate emotions that are chemical based. Like, those chemicals will make you do weird, like, when you get angry and you can't control yourself. Some people can't because their brain just, like, you're so angry you can't think straight. Like, just, there's nothing else on your mind besides that. Any form mechanical, thank you, God. From hordes of cannibals to psych wards of hospitals, and then he says it's a small world after all. And then he's, you know, singing his way out. The songs are a lot better when you listen to them. Like, if you read along and listened to the song, it'd probably hit different, because I'm just reading them and explaining them, like, monotonously, kind of. But if you read, or if you listen to the songs as he sang them, like, go listen to these songs. Please, big warning, if I could edit text onto the screen right now, I'd say, like, huge disclaimer, in the middle of it, at the end, in the very beginning, in the description, in the fucking pinned comment, like, I'd put it everywhere. Go listen to these songs. Like, please go listen to them, because they're good. If you don't like them, that's fine. I enjoy them heavily, but you should at least give them a listen, and if it's not your type, all of his albums are different, so it's very, you know. If you don't like this song, then go listen to a slower song. He makes slow songs, he makes fast songs, he makes love songs, he makes I'm a fucking psycho, come kill me. He makes songs for people who are mentally ill, which, there you go. You know, like, psychosis, you know, induced fucking drug addict songs. I love them, though. I love them. They're my type of shit. That's so strange. Okay. I am going to do... There's 10 songs in this album, so maybe I could finish up... There's I, Me, Myself, and Well Better Than the Alternative are the next songs, so we'll do that. I also love Well Better Than the Alternative. It's ... Well, I don't know. So let's go do I, Me, Myself, and he does his little, he does his little, you know, doo-wop. Fucking all of that. This one is very, like, beauty standards type of song. It's very... People, this was the one that was on TikTok that people used as, like, some of the lyrics are, I wish I could be a girl, you know, kind of thing, and it's a guy singing, so people are like, oh my god, trans. That's not necessarily it, because in the very beginning, he says, I've been feeling lightheaded since I lost enough weight to fit back in my skin. Like, that's very, like, eating disorder kind of thing, you know? Like, it's not, like, trans people don't necessarily lose or gain weight. I mean, I'm sure that some of them do, but not everybody. Weight and gender are very different things to make you feel comfortable in your body. Like, you can present as, you know, you could lose weight and become like a skinny girl and you were born a guy. Like, okay, well, maybe you had, like, both of those things were bothering you at the same time. Like, you lost weight, you feel healthier, and now you feel more confident and you feel mentally better and physically better at the same time. But I'm pretty sure that it's the same with it's I don't know. They're very similar things, but they're not the same. And feeling lightheaded because you lost enough weight, that's probably like anorexic. Like, you're not eating enough and it's getting you like it's if you're getting lightheaded and your body hurts because you're not eating enough, like, please eat more, you know. And I also do love the song. This was like the second or third song of his that I listened to. I think it was the third. I've been feeling lightheaded since I lost enough weight to fit back in my skin. Flower petals and feathers tether me to the ground, pound for pound. Take my tea with formaldehyde for my feminine side since the day that I died. Well, I whittle my bones until a brittle. Am I pretty now? I'll get to that when this verse is over. For some reason I find myself lost in what you think of me and too confused to choose who I should be, and now you've got me thinking, I wish I could be a girl, whatever. If you, like, this is very, like, skinny, and maybe he thinks, like, I would look prettier. And, I mean, if he's a guy, he can be handsome, he can be pretty, he can be whatever. And, look, people are using this as, like, gender identity. I don't know. Fuck that annotation, I'm not doing that. But it's very, like, it's not gender, it's like, I want to look good, and sometimes that's not, like, oh, I'm handsome, or, oh, you think that I look good, it's like, I'm pretty, like, I want to look pretty, people can look pretty, anybody can, but, like, if you're, like, whittling your bones, like, you're getting so skinny that you can fucking see your bones, like, they're, like, brittle, because they're not strong enough to, like, support you. And if you could be tethered down by flower petals and feathers, like, pound for pound, if I put down a pound of feathers and it held you down, I would probably take you to the hospital. Like, that is, like, severe weight loss. Like, if you want to lose weight, good for you, try. Go ahead, I know it's not easy, but also, don't overexert yourself. And now you've got me thinking, I wish I could be a girl, and that way you'd wish I could be your girlfriend, boyfriend. Am I pretty enough to lie to? I wish I could be a girl, and that way you'd wish I could be your girlfriend, boyfriend. Just a little old me in a big, big world. I wish I were a girl. And I mean, that is what made people think, like, oh, you know, transgender. No. That's not it. This is very, like, beauty standards, I feel like, and not, like, transgender, anything, like, trans, and non-binary, anything like that. It's very, like, I wish I were a girl because I want to be pretty, not because I want to be a girl because I'd feel comfortable. I want to be pretty, I want to be liked by people, and I don't think that I'm pretty. I need to lose weight, I need to do this, I need to do that. and I've been feeling lighthearted since I gained enough weight back to cover my bones. I get dressed up in shadows one leg at a time, we're so alike. And if the shoe fits, then I won't try it on. You'll be walking out early, but the show must go on. No, I know that I'm wrong, but I love how you're on my side when I cross that line. It's been a point of contention between myself and this body that they stuck me in, the privilege of being born to be a man, and now you've got me thinking. It's very... I love how you're on my side when I cross that line. Like, I can look like a girl, and you'll still be with me, maybe. I can be a feminine guy, and I can still be your boyfriend. Like, I'm dating a girl, he's straight. Fortunate for you guys. He's straight, and he's like, I wish that I could be pretty enough to be considered like your girlfriend, but I'm still your boyfriend. Like, I want to be a pretty guy. That's what the song is to me. It used to be very like,
Hey.
like, oh my god, me, oh my god, like, no. So this first part has a very, it's the bridge for the next part of the song. It gets very, oh wait, okay, wait, this is where I said I was gonna get to that. So there is a live version of the song. I'll read the normal version, and then I will substitute it with the live lyrics. The live lyrics are like when he does his music live, listen to a song of his like the studio produced official version, and then listen to him do it live. It's always like he throws his whole heart into doing it live, and I love it. Especially White Knuckle Jerk, because he's like talking to the fucking pianist the whole time. Or he's talking to one of his like musical like people who's like playing the instruments on the side, and he's fucking like slamming his feet on the keyboard and like singing and screaming and fucking bonking himself with the microphone. It's funny, and it's enjoyable because he still sounds good while he's doing it. Eating your prosthetic meat, and it's like meet your anesthetic criteria, because I think you have to be a certain like anesthesia is done based off of weight. So if there was somebody who was kind of similar to me, if they were 19 years old and, you know, if they were 250 pounds, then I don't know how that would work for them. I think if you're too light, I don't know if you can go on anesthesia. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it's different based on weight. Anyways, but it's eating your prosthetic meat, M-E-A-T, meat, and then M-E-E-T, like meeting criteria. Meet your anesthetic criteria. Pathetic, seeing you become ascetic, and that's like A-C-E-T-I-C, and there's no definition for that. I can't find that, but it's also I've heard like other like seeing you become something, and the word is always different. I say ascetic because that's what it sounds like, and if this is like the official like lyrics, then okay. Say my name like a slur, but I've been called worse, and I've heard it all before. No, this isn't a first. Let me be the void you fill with taxidermy fingerprints. Taxonomize our differences. I am quantum physics. My witness brings me into existence. I got a book on quantum physics one time because I was like, okay, I've heard so much about this. Like, what is it? The book is large, and the book is like, it put me to sleep. Like, I was reading, and I was like, wait, I'm actually tired. And then I fell asleep and didn't read it again. But what I did understand out of that is, I read it so long ago. The thing about quantum physics is that there's a theory of quantum physics that if you can't see it, is it really real? I think something like that. And how do you know something's real if you can't see it? Like, how do I know that I'm made out of cells? Like, how do I know I have skin cells and whatever? Because I can't see them. When I look at my hand, I mean, you kind of can if you look hard enough, but you see, like, your fingerprints, but I don't see bones inside of me. That's a weird thing to say. Like, I feel my bones. Like, my wrists are, like, thin enough that I can feel my bones, and, like, my knees and my toes and your knuckles, those are bones. Those are, like, sharp. Well, I guess your knuckles aren't really bones, but it's very, they have bones in them. You know that they're there. If you've ever, like, gross warning here for a second. When I was a kid, and you used to, like, piggyback ride on your dad, if you ever did that, he was, like, joking around and whatever, and he, like, moved to, like, throw me off as a joke onto the floor. We had a carpeted floor, so it was fine. But I flew into the table, and I heard my nose crunch. I heard my nose, like, make a noise, and I was like, ow, and it hurt. I never got that checked out. I can breathe fine, but I feel like there's something wrong with my nose because of that. My nose is like a sensitive thing. If I ever see somebody get hit in the face, I'm always like, cover my nose. I hate it. I don't know where I got that from, but like, anyways, you can't see your bones and your cells and your blood. You don't know that. Like, how do I know that it's real? It's kind of like that saying of like, if a tree fell in a forest when nobody's around, how are you supposed to hear it? You know, like, oh, I could cut down a tree and tell my friend, okay, look at this tree, and I'm gonna spray paint it, you know, like red or blue or yellow. I'm gonna like mark it with something, and then you cut it down, and they come back in. They're like, oh, well, I didn't hear it, so how do I know you cut it down? It's like, okay, well, like, I don't know, if you didn't hear it, how would you know that I cut it down? And if I didn't have it marked, it could have been any tree. Like, if it fell, I don't know why trees would fall if you didn't cut them down, but if a tree fell and you didn't hear it, you wouldn't go look because you wouldn't know that anything happened. So it's let me see this part here. So say my name like a slur, but I've been called worse. Somebody akin to that to dead naming a trans person, which is like you say my name like it's supposed to be offensive. Like, oh, my name is Hamon, but my old username. I joke around and I say that people dead name me, because my old username used to be fucking Flowey because I was like 12 and I used to be super into Undertale. But very few people still call me that. But if I change my real life name, it would be a hassle because everybody knows me as my name. And whatever. So if I changed it to something more, especially if it was more masculine, like if I changed my name, not that big of a deal. I feel like my parents might be a little bit upset because they named me. That's a name they gave me. But what if I don't like my name and I want to change it to a more masculine name? Like what if I want to be fucking Jerry or something? I don't want to be Jerry. That would suck. I would change my name again. But what if I want to change my name and I want to be, you know, something different, and somebody still called me by my old name? That would probably offend me because I changed it for a reason. I don't want to be called that old name anymore. And it's also very disrespectful to do that to trans people, so if you do that, I will punch you. But, you're saying their name as if it's supposed to be offensive. Like, if Genji had an old username before, well, I guess technically he did. But, well, and we still call him that sometimes, but he doesn't seem to care. But if he changed it because it was, like, embarrassing or awkward, which is why I changed my username, because his old username, I'm gonna dead name you, Genji, get ready for this one. It used to be Super Monkey with, like, letters or, like, numbers or something at the end. And he changed it to play sgenji8766. Full username. Find him on PlayStation, dox him. Joking, don't do that. But, like, if we still called him Super Monkey, and he said, don't call me that, then we wouldn't. But it's his name on Overwatch, so if we call him that, some people notice his name and they'll call him Super Monkey. We call him Genji, but it's weird when we're in a group with different people and we call him Genji because they're like, he's not playing Genji. No, like that's what we call him. We call him Genji because his PlayStation name is Plays Genji, because he plays Genji. He's a Genji main, like, you know. But if you called him his old name or my old username, or if Omega had an old username, then I would probably stray away from calling them that because you change your name, so I should adapt to the change that you made. Like, it's not a big deal to me. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, I knew Omega for 3 years and now he changed his name, it would kind of suck, but whatever. So, the live version of this is, it's something along the lines of, lately I've been wishing I were 5'5", weighing 95, I think, 99? Weighing 99, wearing thigh highs. He's like, I'll be your prosthetic, meet your anesthetic criteria. Would you please objectify me? I'm just a hunk of burning self-loathing. My evidence, my witness, when I'm caught breaking the laws of physics. And then there's also, after that, when he's like, I wish I could be a girl, he's like, I wish you would kick my fucking teeth in. Because that's like violent. Like, he gets very violent when he's live. He slams the piano and kicks shit and, like, yells and screams and does weird shit. I like it because I think it's cool. But I like the live version a lot better. It's sick. But it's still, like, my evidence, my witness when I'm caught breaking the laws of physics, as if, like, he's a guy, and people are gonna complain that, like, oh, you can't really be a girl because of your DNA. Like, okay, well, fuck my DNA. Like, if I look like a girl, then I'm a girl, and if I look like a guy, then I'm a guy. Like, if I look like something, most of the time, Like, I don't know, if Genji's born a guy and he wants to grow his hair out and wear frilly dresses and put on makeup and look like a fucking girly girl and look like a cute little porcelain doll, then he can do that. And if I want to fucking grow out a beard and fucking, you know, wear masculine clothes and cut my hair short or have a different haircut and I look like a guy, but people are still gonna be like, oh, well, I know you, and you used to be a girl, and now you're a guy. Oh, well, you're still a girl, technically. It's like, okay, well, if I look like a guy, then, like, call me a guy. Like, it's not that deep. But also, on the other hand, just because Genji looks like a girl doesn't mean he wants to be a girl. You know, you can still call him a guy. Guys can wear dresses. Girls can wear fucking pants and whatever. They don't have to wear dresses. If, off kind of unrelated tangent, but, like, offhand. Okay, hold on. I don't understand why people are like, oh, we're going to a nice event and you're a girl, you have to wear a dress. If I'm going to a nice event, as long as I'm dressed up nice, like, why does it matter? Like, I can wear a tuxedo, or I can wear nice pants and a nice shirt and be dressed up and look presentable, but why do girls have to come in dresses? Like, that's, like, I look nice. If I look nice, then why does it matter? So then he's, I wish I could be a girl in that way, blah, blah, blah. Am I pretty enough to love back? No, not yet. I wish I could be a girl, and really, I'd prefer if you would use I, me, myself, like slashes with, like, pronouns. Am I pretty enough? Am I pretty enough to fucking die? Little old me in a big world. Well, I would give you my whole world. Little old me in a big, big world. Ah, I wish. And then at the end, he's like, there's, like, quiet chanting. And it's, all identities are equally invalid. Don't you think that there's a chance that you could live without it? And that's what he's saying. And I think that's kind of funny. All identities are equally invalid. Don't you think that there's a chance that you could live without it? Like, it's on the same kind of vein as if we stop seeing good or bad. If people stopped seeing gender, like, or I'm sorry, if people stop seeing sex, like, everything in his eyes, if everything was invalid, then, like on this specific topic, personally, I wouldn't care. Like, if I didn't know if you were a girl or a boy, fuck it, like, I wouldn't care anyways. Like, what the fuck does it matter? It doesn't matter to me now, and it wouldn't matter then. Like, if you're a girl, if you look cute, then you're cute. And if you look hot or handsome or pretty or anything, then I love you. Like, it's too late. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you. It's not, like, nothing crazy there. My voice is dying. And so we'll do better than the alternative because I also really like this song. Okay. This one is this is one of the very first times he's talked about a daughter, and people used to think that he had a daughter, but he doesn't. But he, like, in one of his more recent albums, In Case I Make It and In Case I Die, those are kind of like dual albums. And then he stopped making music. It's been like a year. He stopped making music, and I don't know if he's coming back, which is very saddening. But he's, he mentions, like, but what about a daughter? And always talking about, like, so this is where I'll raise my kids. It's like, so, do you want kids? Like, that's crazy to me. I'm glad that he's at a place where he is thinking about having kids, because I hope that he's, in a good place to have a family and to, you know, settle down. That's always a good thing. So, verse 1 is, pink lemonade on autumn bomber coats, Peter Pan collars, but my daughter's growing up. She's going to be a lot like me, but I don't want to be at all like me. Yellow buzz cuts, pulling out stingers. You're telling me I'm holding up 11 fingers, and stranger things than death can happen to lab rat girls and pretty white rabbits. It's a bit of a clusterfuck. Perhaps in this metaphor, the person recovering from the injury is being compared to the person who caused it.
Oh, eat it!
In this case, lab rat girls and pretty white rabbits is perhaps a reference to the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, who leads the main character on a very strange journey, which has become a symbol of the psychedelic movement, and therefore perhaps a reference to the psychedelic studies conducted by MKUltra, which a number of other elements of the normal album and the prescription reference. It's very, like, if you got stung by a bee and somebody says, how many fingers am I holding up? You shouldn't. Usually that's only, like, if you got hit in the head. People hold up fingers because if you're seeing different things, then you got... Okay. Psychology moment for a second here. Your brain has different lobes. You have a frontal lobe, temporal lobes, which are near your ears. And your brain is formatted like this. Everybody's brain is like this. You have a frontal lobe, which is a big section. It's where your thoughts take place. It's where most... it's got like motor and, you know, stuff like that. So you can move, you know how to talk, you know how to move, whatever. The temporal lobes are your temples. Temple. And that's where hearing takes place. That's where... like when you hear things, it goes through a bunch of stuff, and then it transfers to that part of your brain, so that's why it's right near your ears. I guess that'd be easier. And then the occipital lobe is in the back. There's the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the occipital lobe, whatever, is in the back of your head, and that's why when you get hit in the back of the head, you will black out sometimes, because it's fucking up your vision. And if you get hit in the back of the head, then, like, your brain rattles around. God forbid it rattles around. That's bad. Don't shake somebody's brain. That's awful for them. But if you get hit and you black out or you can't see, then something's wrong with the back of your brain. Hopefully, like, there's no, like, tumors or, it's very dangerous for blood to touch your brain. There's a barrier between, that. I think that's, hold on. I gotta think. Whatever. Biology. Whatever. But if blood touches your brain, it's toxic to your brain, and it's bad for you. So don't get a brain bleed. That's like seizures and strokes will cause brain bleeds. So I'm hoping that if you get stung by a bee, that you do not, if somebody says, how many fingers am I holding up, and you say 11, or, you know, 7, and they're only holding up 2, then help. Like, or they're clearly not thinking straight. Maybe they got hit in the front of the head and they're not thinking straight, because if you hold up 2 1s and you say, how many fingers am I holding up, and they say 11, because they see a 1 and a 1 and they think 11 and not 2, then there's also something wrong with them. So there's, everybody knows that, nobody knows that, everybody's in on everybody's business. This isn't my first Christmas, I know mistletoe when I see it. And it's like, if one is standing under the mistletoe, the idea is that you're supposed to kiss them. Will is speaking as though he is suspicious of somebody's intentions, feeling like he's being tricked into expressing affection or engaging with somebody sexually/romantically by seeing them under the mistletoe. I know mistletoe when I see it, as if, like, he's seen those signs before of, like, you're like, I'm suspicious of you because I know what you're doing, and that kind of thing. Baby, could you play along with me? Baby, would that be alright with you? And when we find out what's wrong with me, could you tell me how I'm right for you? Baby, could you play along with me? Baby, would that be alright with you? When we find out what's wrong with me, could you tell me how? Could you tell me how? And if I'm still pretty? And that's back to the I want to be pretty for you kind of thing. And he thinks that there's something wrong with him in the song. He's like, am I right for you? There's something wrong with me, but am I right for you? And that's like, funny. Hold on, I'm gonna check something. Star. My star is so right. Yeah, she said goodnight 16 minutes ago. I'm sorry I didn't see that, Star. I saw the comment, but fucking my moderator here didn't tell me shit.
You kept talking, I didn't see fucking any time to interject.
You could say hey. Cigarette burns, laugh lines, wide dimples. If they could see the future back when times were simple, would they kiss your cheek or yank the bandage off, let you speak, or take advantage of how if everyone's sick, well then nobody can catch it, and if everybody's different, how could anybody match? And if we're looking through the pockets of the hand-me-downs we laid out, wonder if we'll fit into the yesterdays we played out. And that's like, you know, when people give you hand-me-downs when you're younger, it's like, oh, well, you'll grow up to be about as big as your sister or your brother or whatever. You'll grow up into that, like, and fit it, hopefully. Like, if it fit your sister, maybe it'll fit you or your brother or whatever. Or, like, an old hand-me-down, like, I don't know, my grandmother's fucking sweater or something. I don't know, something like that. Wonderful fit. While looking back on memories with somebody, you may worry that talking about the good old days is the only thing you can do together anymore. Even if people were compatible in the past, they may not be in the present or future. unfortunately. Since everyone changes at one point or another, I'd like to think that these lines refer to this type of experience, the pockets of the hand-me-downs representing memories that can't help but make the speaker wonder whether or not they can continue making such memories, if they'll fit into the yesterdays they played out, if they will fit into, like, the imagination that they had. They're like, oh, like, I'm at a good point in my life, and then you grow up and you change, and like, I want to go back. I want to be... Because everybody's afraid of the future, so that you'd always want to go back in the past. You're like, I want to be where I was comfortable. Like, I knew the past was comfortable because I lived through it. How am I supposed to know the future is going to be like that? And would they kiss your cheek or yank the bandage off? This could be alluding to the way a lot of older folks tend to dismiss the younger generation's feelings by talking about how hard it was back in their day and how they didn't have the things that we do now. If our parents or grandparents saw what was happening in the present back then... Wait, hold on. If our parents or grandparents saw what was happening in the present back then, would they still treat us the same? If they could see into the present, would they change the way they acted towards us back then? Like, if they could go back and change the past, would they? I think that's what that meant. I'm trying to, like, I was reading it so hard, I was trying to figure it out. Yeah, okay. Would they still, like, kiss your cheek? Would they be nice to you? Would they be like, oh, it's okay, sweetie? Or would they yank the bandage off and be like, you know, toughen up, do it the hard way? Something like that. Let you speak or take advantage of. If everybody's sick, nobody can catch it, and if everybody's different, how could anybody match? And that second line is very true. You're always like, oh, well, everybody's different, nobody's the same, but then how do people match? Like, if everybody's different, if we're all different puzzle pieces, I mean, it's true, but you would also still find a match, because if everybody's different, you will eventually find, there's so many people on Earth, you would always find somebody who will fit, like, your, like, puzzle pieces, and you will, like, or maybe... Okay, I'll just fucking throw my phone across the room. That was a great idea. If you had past partners and they didn't end up that well, then maybe, maybe they didn't fit with you and you thought they did, and you could always try turning the puzzle piece. You could try turning yourself, but usually that ends up fucking you and not the other person. Learn from past experiences here. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Nobody knows that. Everybody's all up in my goddamn business. This isn't my first kiss. It's better to be lost than loved now, isn't it? We're getting an annotation to load. Let's go. Also, my phone's on 15%, so this is going to be the last song. Anyways. Cool, the annotation's not loading. I guess I'll just die. This isn't my first kiss, so he's like, I know what it's like. It's better to be lost than loved now, isn't it? And, I mean... If what he's talking, if what the annotation before said about, like, manipulative, like, seeing signs of manipulation or abuse, and seeing, like, you saw those signs, and, like, this isn't my first kiss, like, this isn't my first time going through something like this, it's better to be lost than loved. And honestly, considering some people I've met, I'd rather be lost than loved, instead of being loved and lost, or whatever the saying is. I would rather, I would rather be single, probably forever, than have some of those people in my life. Sextuple kill, got him. Okay, anyways.
Fuck.
Hold on. Okay.
Fucking bitch.
So, it's better to be lost than loved. I would rather not be loved if it's going to be as bad as whatever he was going through. Assuming that he went through something bad and he's like, oh, well, I don't want the same thing to happen. Could you play along with me with the whatever? Could you tell me how? Could you tell me how? And if I'm so pretty. And then there's like there's another little, like, chant kind of thing. And it's, let me kill this bitch first. You can stop growing up, but you can't grow down. Either way, you're gonna wonder till you're done and underground. You can stop growing up, but you can't grow down. Either way, you're gonna wonder till you're done and underground. And that sucks to hear, but it's so true. Like, you can never go back in the past. You can never grow down. You can never get younger. But, that is very... My phone is dying. That's very unfortunate and true that, you know... You're going to continue growing forever, and you can never go back to the past, no matter how much you want to. But, oh well. And then this is a very slow, like, the song is kind of like, upbeat, and then it slows down during this part. Walking biked home with a scraped knee, sunset smudged across your brow, warmer tears than you've grown used to since then, a toast to the nosebleed seats in the big dream sequence where you're found, guilty of your innocence and gently sent right back to bed. Everybody knows that. Nobody knows that. Everybody's all up in my motherfucking business. This isn't my first anything. This isn't my first anything. Everybody knows that. Nobody knows that. Everybody's in on everybody's business. This isn't my first lyric. I know exactly how I should finish it. And then he keeps singing. And he does the chorus again, and then there's another chorus, and it's, what's so wrong about what's wrong with me? I'm just trying to do what's right by you. What's so wrong about what's wrong with me? I'm just trying to do what's right by you. He's like, could you play along with me? Would that be alright with you? After all of that's been done with me, could you tell me how? Could you tell me how? And he repeats that. So that's very, you know, I want to be alright, and maybe back then, in the past, maybe that's why. Like, he's like, I want to go back then because I want to be alright, because I'm not alright now, and I want to go back to when I was, like, a normal person. Normal, keyword there. After all of that's been done with me, I don't know if he's, like, after all of, like, everything that happened, or after all of that is done, could you tell me how? I'm right for you, like, tell me, compliment me, like, tell me that I'm normal. Affirm my, you know, whatever. And also, in annotation for the song, like, generally, from the premiere of the single, from the premiere of the single via New Noise magazine, speaking to the song's inspiration, Will states, contrary to popular belief, I don't have a daughter. I don't always write from my own perspective. Besides, I think the last thing I want is to put someone through the deeply traumatizing experience of being forced to live an entire life without their consent. It almost always messes them up mentally. Very true. It's, on a smaller, like, scale, but in a similar vein, I don't want to, I don't want to have a dog because I'm not that active of a person, and I don't want to be, I don't want to get, like, a lot of the dogs breeds that I do like my favorite dog breed, are like Border Collies and Australian Shepherds, and they're very high energy dogs. I do not have the kind of lifestyle, I don't live on a farm, I can't upkeep their, you know, needs, and I don't want to bring them into life, or, you know, bring them to my house, or whatever, when I'm older, where they would just be miserable. I don't want my dogs to be miserable and fat and fucking overweight. Like, I want my dogs to be happy, so I would, you know, if I wanted a dog that bad, then I'd rather just fucking get a farm and fuck it up that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it up in a good way. I would literally rather, buy a whole, like, I was gonna say mansion, but that's not it, a whole farm. Like, I want my animals to be happy. If I don't have the resources to help keep something alive, then I'd rather not get it at all, even if I really, really want it. Like, some people really want kids. Okay, like, I want kids, but not, I am normal enough to wait to where I'm, you know. Oh, they did fix it. Wait till I'm financially and mentally stable enough to, you know, have a kid. And even then, I'm not having a kid, because that's gonna fuck me up more, because I cannot, I've heard too many horror stories about, like, postpartum depression, and I cannot stand, like, having that, even, like, thinking about having that happen. Like, if you're already messed up, and you get, like, maybe not more messed up, but, like, if it gets worse because you, what did you just say? Fucking Junkerman speaking to me. I would rather have a child that's happy than me, well, wait. I would rather be in a happy place myself so that I can transfer that, energy onto the kid or the dog or the person that I'm with, because if I'm messed up now, then it's gonna be, that would only make it worse. That would be more stresses on me, and I can handle those stresses better when I'm in a good place, if that makes any sense. So, if you want, my voice is dying also, by the way. If you want, here, let me do this. If you guys want, anybody who watches this video in the future, if you want me to talk about the next 5 songs on this album, then I totally will, and I definitely will get to that, because it was easy. It only took me about 2 hours to get through 5 songs, but if you want me to do that, I am totally up to it. And if you want me to do another album, if you don't want me to do this, if you have any recommendations for anything at all, I will be totally down and or up for it. And I will be busy the next coming days because I have a show, so I probably won't stream for a while, but the next time I get around to it, I will get onto whatever you want me to do. And also, I've yet to download Hollow Knight, but I might get around to that. But we will see how that goes, because the PlayStation Store has not been letting me in. It's been, messing with me, and so I can't buy it, even though I want to. So, whatever. Whenever I get to it, I'll do a stream and I'll be like, guys, look, I got it. And we'll see how that goes. That is the game that I'm going to get. Sorry, Squib, or Bluefire, whatever you go by. I'll call you Squib because that's your name that I see more often now. I did not check out Risk of Rain like you said, but I think that Hollow Knight is, it's more attracting to me, so I'm going to pick that game. Maybe I'll play the other one in the future sometime, I don't know, but we'll see. So I'm going to leave this stream, not, leave forever, but I'll see you guys when I see you, and thank you for listening to my rambles about my favorite musical man.